In the vast expanse of the galaxy, on a world called Zorith 7, the colony thrived in silent harmony. Zorith 7 was a planet of endless crimson dunes and jagged obsidian spires, where the twin suns cast perpetual twilight across the landscape. The air hummed with the subtle vibrations of the Hive, a sprawling network of underground tunnels and surface domes constructed from the planet's own silicate resins. The inhabitants, known as the Zorathians, were a species of bioluminescent arthropods, each individual a node in a greater collective consciousness. They communicated not through words, but through pheromonal pulses and neural links, forming a symphony of shared thoughts that echoed through their chitinous exoskeletons. For eons, the colony had been alone. Their ancestors had seeded Zorith 7 millennia ago, fleeing a cataclysm on their homeworld. Here, they evolved in isolation, adapting to the harsh environment. The Hive Queen, Illyria, ruled from the central chamber, her massive form pulsating with the life force of the entire colony. She was the heart, the mind, the soul, birthing workers, warriors, and scouts in rhythmic cycles. The workers tended to the fungal gardens that provided sustenance, weaving intricate webs of mycelium through the soil. The warriors patrolled the perimeters, their mandibles sharp and ready against the occasional sandstorm beasts that roamed the dunes. Scouts ventured far, mapping the uncharted craters and ensuring no threats encroached on their domain. Life was a delicate balance. The Zorathians had no concept of individuality. Each action served the whole. In the beginning, when the first spores landed on Zorith 7, the colony was small, a mere cluster of eggs buried deep in a volcanic crevice. Over generations, it grew, expanding tunnels that snaked for kilometers beneath the surface. They harnessed geothermal energy to power their bioluminescent lights, creating a subterranean world aglow with ethereal blues and greens. Above ground, domes rose like giant bubbles, transparent yet impenetrable, allowing them to observe the stars without the sting of the sun's radiation. Illyria often reflected on their solitude. Through the collective mind, she sensed the faint echoes of ancient memories, tales of other worlds, of stars teeming with life. But Zorith 7 was their sanctuary, untouched by the chaos beyond. No ships pierced the atmosphere. No signals disrupted their neural web. The colony was self-sufficient, recycling every resource in a closed loop of efficiency. Water was drawn from deep aquifers, purified through biological filters in the workers' glands. Nutrients cycled endlessly, with waste becoming fertilizer for the gardens. It was a utopia of sorts, fragile yet resilient, where peace reigned supreme. One cycle, as the twin suns aligned in their rare conjunction, a scout named Vex returned to the Hive with alarming news. His pheromones carried a scent of urgency, disrupting the usual calm. Anomaly detected, his neural pulse broadcasted to the collective. Object descending from the void. Metallic. Emitting heat signatures unknown to our archives. Illyria stirred in her chamber, her antennae twitching. The collective mind buzzed with curiosity and faint apprehension. Scouts were dispatched en masse, skittering across the dunes toward the impact site. What they found was unlike anything in their history, a colossal vessel, sleek and angular, embedded in a crater of scorched sand. Smoke billowed from its hull, and strange bipedal figures emerged, clad in armored suits that gleamed under the sun's light. These were humans, explorers from a distant blue planet called Earth, driven by an insatiable hunger for expansion. The humans called their ship the Inferno's Reach, a terraforming vessel equipped with fusion drives and atmospheric processors. Captain Mira Voss led the expedition, a hardened veteran of interstellar colonization. Her crew of 50 included engineers, biologists, and security personnel, all tasked with transforming Zorith 7 into a habitable outpost for humanity. Earth's resources were dwindling. Overpopulation and climate collapse had forced them to the stars. Zorith 7, with its mineral-rich crust and potential for agriculture, was a prime target. Scan complete, reported Lieutenant Hale, peering at his holographic display. Planets got some weird biosigns underground. Looks like insectoid life forms. Non-sentient, probably. Voss nodded, her face stern behind the visor. Proceed with Phase 1. Deploy the fire lances. We burn the surface clean, then seed the atmosphere. The fire lances were humanity's tool of conquest, plasma torches designed to incinerate native flora and fauna, sterilizing the land for human-compatible ecosystems. They believed in manifest destiny among the stars. Clear the way, build anew. Little did they know the colony was far from non-sentient. Back in the Hive, panic rippled through the neural web as the first flames licked the dunes. Scouts perished in the blaze, their final pulses screaming of agony and destruction. Illyria felt each death like a tear in her own flesh. Intruders, she broadcasted. They bring fire. Defend the Hive. The middle of the conflict unfolded in waves of escalating horror. The Zorathian warriors mobilized, emerging from hidden vents in swarms. Their exoskeletons hardened against heat, but the plasma flames were relentless. Humans advanced with mechanized walkers, towering machines that stomped across the landscape, spewing fire in wide arcs. The colony's domes shattered under the assault, exposing tunnels to the toxic air above. Vex, now elevated to war leader by Illyria's decree, coordinated counterattacks. Flank from the east, his pheromones commanded. Warriors burrowed beneath the sand, erupting in ambushes that toppled walkers and dragged humans into the depths. The collective mind adapted quickly. Scouts analyzed the invaders' technology, relaying weaknesses. The human suits were vulnerable at the joints, their weapons overheated after prolonged use. Captain Voss watched from the Inferno's Reaches bridge as reports flooded in. These bugs are organized, she muttered. Not just animals. They're fighting back like an army. Biologist Dr. Elena Ruiz urged caution. Captain, this could be a sentient species. We should attempt communication. But Voss was unyielding. Orders from command. Secure the planet at all costs. If they're in the way, they burn. The battles raged for days. Zorath 7's skies darkened with ash, the twin suns veiled by smoke. The colony suffered immense losses. Fungal gardens withered under the heat, eggs incinerated in breeding chambers. Illyria birthed reinforcements frantically, her body straining under the effort. Through the collective, she shared visions of unity, urging her children to persevere. In a daring raid, Vex led a team into the human ship. They infiltrated through exhaust vents, their small forms slipping past defenses. Inside, the air was thick with alien scents, sweat, metal, and synthetic foods. They sabotaged life support systems, causing malfunctions that forced evacuations. Humans panicked, firing blindly into shadows. One human, Dr. Ruiz, encountered a lone scout in the corridors. Instead of attacking, she lowered her weapon. "Wait," she whispered, though knowing it couldn't understand. But the scout paused, its bioluminescence flickering in patterns. In that moment, a spark of potential understanding ignited. Ruiz activated her translator AI, broadcasting low-frequency waves. The scout responded with pheromonal bursts, which the AI interpreted as basic queries. Why fire? Why destroy? Ruiz explained humanity's plight, Earth's dying world, the need for new homes. The scout relayed this to the collective, and Illyria pondered. Were these invaders, not unlike their own ancestors, fleeing doom? But the fragile truce shattered when Voss ordered an orbital strike. Fire rained from the sky, plasma bombs cratering the Hive's entrances. Thousands perished, their neural links severing in waves of silence. Illyria's chamber collapsed partially, pinning her under rubble. Vex rushed to her side, his mandibles working to free her. "We must evolve," Illyria pulsed weakly. "Adapt or perish." The colony's scientists, specialized workers with enhanced neural capacities, devised a plan. Using salvaged human tech from fallen walkers, they engineered a bioweapon, spores that could infiltrate suits and induce hallucinations. Released in clouds during the next assault, the spores drove humans mad, turning allies against each other. Chaos ensued in the human camp. Soldiers fired on phantoms, engineers sabotaged their own equipment. Voss, unaffected in her sealed command center, realized the tide turning. Retreat to the ship. We're pulling out. But it was too late for many. Dr. Ruiz, exposed during her attempt at diplomacy, succumbed to the spores, her last thoughts a regretful plea for peace. As the humans consolidated, the colony pressed the advantage. Warriors flooded the surface, overwhelming outposts. Vex led the final charge, his swarm converging on the Inferno's reach. They breached the hull, flooding corridors with bodies. Humans fought valiantly, their lasers cutting through chitin, but numbers prevailed. In the bridge, Voss faced Vex. Her suit cracked, she raised her pistol. "You monsters," she spat. Vex's bioluminescence pulsed a final message, translated through Ruiz's abandoned device. "We were alone. You brought fire. Now you reap ashes." The shot rang out, but Vex dodged, his mandibles piercing her armor. Voss fell, her crew scattering. With the ship captured, the remaining humans surrendered. Illyria, freed from rubble, extended an olive branch through the collective. "Coexist or leave," the message broadcasted. Some humans, like the surviving engineers, chose to stay, integrating their knowledge with the colonies. They taught sustainable tech, avoiding fire's destruction. In return, Zorathians shared their neural web, fostering a hybrid society. The ending came not in flames, but in fusion. Zorath, 7 healed, scars turning to fertile ground. Illyria birthed a new generation, infused with human resilience. Vex became ambassador, bridging worlds. Humanity's fire had arrived, but instead of consuming, it forged alliance. The colony was no longer alone. It was reborn. Word count, 1,248. Wait, that's not enough. I need to expand this significantly to reach 2,500 to 3,000 words. Let me flesh it out more. Expanded version. In the vast expanse of the galaxy, nestled within the Orion Arm, lay the planet Zorath, 7. It was a world of stark beauty and unforgiving harshness, characterized by its endless expanses of crimson dunes that shifted like living entities under the relentless winds. Jagged obsidian spires pierced the sky, remnants of ancient volcanic activity that had long since cooled. The planet orbited a binary star system, where twin suns named Alpha and Beta cast a perpetual twilight, their light filtered through thick atmospheric dust, painting the landscape in hues of deep red and purple. The air was thin, laced with trace minerals that sparkled in the dim light, and the gravity was slightly lower than Earth's, allowing for graceful, bounding movements. Deep beneath this surface thrived the colony, a society of Zorathians, bioluminescent arthropods resembling a cross between terrestrial ants and beetles, but scaled up to the size of small dogs. Their bodies were encased in iridescent chitin that shifted colors based on emotional states, from calm blues to alarmed reds. They possessed 6 limbs, 4 for locomotion and 2 manipulative appendages ending in fine pincers. Antennae atop their heads served as sensors for pheromones, vibrations, and electromagnetic fields. But what truly defined them was their collective consciousness, a neural network linking every individual through bioelectric impulses and chemical signals. There was no I in their language, only we. The colony had been alone for millennia. Their origins trace back to a diaspora from Zorath Prime, a lush world destroyed by a supernova. A siege ship carrying embryonic spores crash-landed on Zorath, 7, and from those humble beginnings, the Hive grew. The central figure was the Hive Queen, Illyria, a colossal being spanning 10 meters, her abdomen swollen with the potential for life. She resided in the Nexus Chamber, a vast cavern at the heart of the underground network, where walls pulsed with bioluminescent fungi that provided light and oxygen. Life in the colony was a meticulously orchestrated ballet. Workers, the smallest caste, tended to the fungal gardens, vast chambers where mycelial networks produced nutrient-rich spores. These gardens were engineering marvels, with irrigation systems drawing moisture from geothermal vents and recycling waste into fertilizer. Warriors, larger and armored, patrolled the perimeters, their mandibles capable of slicing through rock. Scouts, agile and perceptive, ventured to the surface, mapping resources and monitoring environmental changes. Illyria oversaw it all, her mind the conduit for the collective. She birthed new members in cycles aligned with the sun's conjunctions, ensuring population balance. The colony's technology was bioorganic, tools grown from modified fungi, energy harnessed from thermal gradients, and communication instantaneous across the hive. They had no wars, no strife, only harmony with their world. Stories passed through the neural web spoke of the void's vastness, but Zorath, 7 was their universe, complete and self-contained. One fateful cycle, as Alpha and Beta aligned, casting a rare double eclipse, a scout named Vex detected an anomaly. Vex was a veteran explorer, his exoskeleton scarred from sandstorm encounters. While scanning a distant crater, his antennae picked up unnatural vibrations, rhythmic pulses from the sky. Intrusion from void, he pulsed back to the collective. The message rippled through the hive, stirring mild curiosity. Illyria dispatched a swarm of scouts to investigate. What they found shattered their isolation. A massive metallic object streaked through the atmosphere, trailing fire like a comet. It impacted with a thunderous boom, carving a new crater amid the dunes. From the wreckage emerged bipedal figures, humans. The ship was the Inferno's Reach, a state-of-the-art terraformer from the United Earth Federation. Captain Mira Voss, a woman in her 40s with cropped hair and a scar across her cheek, led the mission. Her crew included Lieutenant Hale, a burly security chief, Dr. Elena Ruiz, the xenobiologist, and dozens of specialists in engineering and ecology. Earth was in crisis. Centuries of industrialization had rendered it uninhabitable, with rising seas, toxic air, and depleted resources. The Federation launched colonization fleets to claim new worlds. Zorath 7's scans showed promise, abundant minerals, stable tectonics, and an atmosphere that could be tweaked. The humans saw only opportunity, not the life teeming below. Initial scans show minimal surface life, Hale reported, his voice crackling over comms. Some bug-like creatures, but nothing intelligent. Voss surveyed the landscape through her helmet's HUD.
Good.
Deploy the fire lances. We clear the site for the base camp. The fire lances were cylindrical devices mounted on drones, emitting superheated plasma to burn away obstacles. They were tools of efficiency, designed to sterilize and prepare land for human habitation. As the first lances activated, flames erupted across the dunes, incinerating scrubby vegetation and any unfortunate scouts in the path. The colony's response was immediate. Pain signals flooded the neural web as scouts vaporized. Illyria recoiled, her body convulsing. Threat confirmed. Mobilize defenses. The middle phase of the story began with skirmishes that escalated into full war. Warriors emerged from tunnel mouths, swarming the human perimeter. Their attacks were coordinated, using the dunes for cover. Humans retaliated with laser rifles and grenades, but the Zorathians' numbers and adaptability proved challenging. Vex led the first major assault. Target the fire machines, he pulsed. Warriors burrowed under drones, emerging to sever power lines with mandibles. Humans adapted, deploying seismic sensors to detect tunneling. Dr. Ruiz, observing from a safe distance, noted the intelligence. Captain, these aren't dumb insects. Look at their formations, they're communicating. Voss dismissed her. Irrelevant. They're in our way. As days passed, the conflict intensified. Humans established a fortified base, erecting energy shields and automated turrets. They launched aerial surveys, dropping probes that mapped the hive's entrances. In response, the colony's scientists engineered countermeasures, acidic spores that corroded metal, released in wind-borne clouds. Illyria faced internal strain. Birthing rates increased to replace losses, but resources dwindled as gardens burned. The collective mind fractured slightly, with some nodes questioning the fight. Why not retreat deeper? One worker pulsed. Because the fire will follow, Illyria replied, her authority steadying them. A turning point came during a night raid. Vex's team infiltrated the human base, sabotaging generators. In the chaos, Ruiz encountered Vex. She activated an experimental translator, using sonic waves to mimic pheromones. "We mean no harm," she lied initially, then corrected. "We need this world to survive." Vex responded, "Your fire kills our home." The exchange was brief, interrupted by alarms. But it planted seeds of doubt in Ruiz. Voss, learning of the breach, ordered escalation. Orbital fire support from the ship's cannons. Plasma bolts rained, collapsing tunnels and killing thousands. Illyria's chamber flooded with debris, injuring her. In desperation, the colony unleashed their ultimate weapon, a symbiotic virus grown in the labs, designed to hijack nervous systems. Delivered via infected warriors, it spread among humans, causing paralysis and hallucinations. The human camp descended into madness. Soldiers turned on each other, seeing monsters in shadows. Voss, isolated, watched her empire crumble. "Evacuate," she commanded, but many couldn't. Vex led the final push, storming the ship. Fierce fighting ensued in zero-gravity corridors, Zorathians adapting with magnetic grips. Voss confronted Vex in the bridge. "You win this round, Bug," she growled, firing her last shot. Vex survived, subduing her non-lethally. With the humans defeated, Illyria offered terms: leave or integrate peacefully. Ruiz and a handful stayed, sharing knowledge of stars and technology. The colony learned of the galaxy's vastness, preparing for future visitors. Zorith, 7 entered a new era. Hybrid structures rose, blending bioorganic and mechanical designs. Illyria's brood included enhanced offspring, resistant to fire. The colony was alone no more. Humanity's arrival with fire had forged them stronger, a testament to survival through unity.